All right, welcome back to the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Rich Walsh in for Bob Pompiani. Steelers wrapped up OTAs, their voluntary workouts last week. This week, it's a mandatory minicamp. If players don't show up, they're fine. So basically, everyone's going to be there. Devin Bush, he was at all the voluntary workouts, most of them. He'll be there for the mandatory workout, the mandatory minicamp this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I had a chance to talk to Devin Bush along with a couple other reporters. And I asked him if he felt like he had something to prove. I mean, obviously, last year, Chris, he had not a great year, took a lot of criticism, wasn't good with the criticism. And he said, basically, I don't know if this is the exact quote, but he said, I'll paraphrase it, I have nothing to prove. I'm a first-round draft pick.
Yeah. Please. Devin Bush has everything in the world to prove, because if Devin Bush doesn't play like he's interested in playing inside linebacker this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's not going to have a job next year. They didn't pick up the fifth-year option. Devin Bush strikes me, let me do some armchair psychoanalysis here, as a guy who never faced any adversity growing up, finally has hit a raft of it in his first couple of years in the NFL after a great start. First half dozen games or so were wonderful. He gets hurt, though, his second year. The whole thing blows up on him, and he can't get it back together because he doesn't know how to handle the adversity of working back from the injury, of having to live up to expectations. This guy's going to be out of the league in 3 years.
Wow, that's bold. Out of the league in 3 years.
He cannot handle the adversity. And what's going to happen this year? First bad game he has. First time Miles Jack is out there on third down instead of him, maybe. What's going to happen to Devin Bush? He's going to go immediately into his head. He's going to go immediately into the tank. He just doesn't have it. He's got his daddy calling Paul on the radio to stick up for him.
Have you made out follow-up conversations?
We haven't had any follow-up conversations, but I'm assuming if he's got this show and watches it, he might be calling Chris's show to argue with Chris here soon. I mean, here's my issue with Devin Bush. Always has been. Even when he was at Michigan, even when they drafted him, even when they traded, the world and everything else to move up to get him. Devin Bush has never struck me as a guy who has really good instincts to play the game of football.
That's what Merrill Hodge said.
He's a really athletic guy, and quite frankly, we could do a whole nother segment of, these are the kind of guys that Mike Tomlin loves to draft, and these are the kind of players that he loves. And you know what? Most of them stink because they're really athletic, and they can run, and they look great. They look great in the combine, but they don't know how to play football. They can't play football. And this guy he's not a good football player. So, yeah, he's fat. I get you. His knee will be, healed, and he'll get his step back, and he'll be running again. And guess what? That just means he'll be running past, the guys he's supposed to be tackling instead of running behind them, chasing them. I mean, that's all that means.
But, Pony, doesn't it bother you when he says he has nothing to prove?
Well, I think he looks at it like he's made millions of dollars.
Right,
he was a
delusional.
top 10 pick. He's set for life because of it. I honestly think he's going to go down as one of the worst draft picks in Steelers history.
You do?
I do, yeah. I think he's going to go down when we come together and we break up the lists of the worst picks in the last 50 years or so. I think he's going to be right up at the top.
I think especially when you consider commensurately with what they spend
right.
on.
And the thing I would do here, if I were Omar Khan now and I'm supposedly in charge, their top, right? Their two of their last three top picks. Claypool, because they didn't have a first-round pick, and now this guy. I just think they have major attitude problems. And I would want to ask my scouts and Mike Tomlin, why are we taking guys like this? Like, what is their appetite for being great football players? Just because they look good in shorts and they can test well at the combine and wow you at a pro day, what is it about the personality of these guys that we're using premium picks on where you think Chase Claypool and Devin Bush would fit in on the 2005 or 2008 Steelers?
Well, I don't know how many
guys would choose. But I'm saying from their whole attitude and mentality.
Yes.
But these guys would get beaten up by those players.
Like the Brett Kiesels and the Aaron Smiths, they're not there right now. But Cam Hayward is. Cam Hayward.
That's one
for
guy.
Sure.
But more importantly, again, these are the kind of guys that Mike Tomlin always loves to draft. He loves these guys that are combine warriors. That's why, honestly, I was shocked that Malik Willis wasn't the guy that he picked over Kenny Pickett, because he's usually a guy who's enamored with the speed and athleticism and everything else, but it's about, can you watch the film and see if a guy can actually play football?
Well, I'll say this about Claypool. I'll say this about Claypool, and I'm not the president of his fan club, but you could see the tape in college that showed you how he should be used. which is an inside guy and as a target in the red zone and in the middle of the field. They didn't do that at all last year. That offense was an abomination. And we all know it was because Ben could only do certain things. But
and Canada has no clue.
Well, we'll see if he has any clue this year. We'll see. I will give him.
If he
this
doesn't,
year.
why would Mike Tomlin? I mean, it's his job to lose. I mean, he's going to take all the heat. Why would he keep a guy that he doesn't think is any good?
Do you think any other NFL team would hire him with
Not
his
right
resume?
now. No. If he got fired, no.
Before the Steelers hired him, do you think any NFL team would have hired Matt Canada as an offensive coordinator?
I don't know that he.
Okay, so let me follow with one more.
Here's the thing.
Paul, let me just say one more thing. Do you think any NFL team would have hired Randy Fichtner as an offensive coordinator?
No, well, that's a definite.
He still doesn't have a job. So why are we giving Mike Tomlin the benefit of the doubt with offensive coaches? He inherited Bruce Arians, and the owner told him to hire Todd Haley.
Right.
The two guys he's picked have both struck out so far.
Well,
period.
I think the other part of it is, I don't know that Matt Canada would have got a quarterback coaching job from any other NFL team, considering he cut his teeth and his reputation is as a running backs guy.
But there's no way we can know what his offense would have looked like last year as long as Ben was the quarterback running it. We can agree to that. That much.
Yeah,
I
think we can agree to that. I want to see more of if this is the Matt Canada from the Pitt team. You know, he got the pieces. They're similar to what they had at Pitt, right? They look.
I mean,
they
he's got a quarterback
mobile
that
quarterback.
He's got a couple quarterbacks that don't have to get rid of the football in 2.2 seconds, or else they're going to keel over.
But he's also got diva wide receivers that haven't shown they're big-time players yet, and an offensive line that we've got no clue about.
Again, how many games this is what, obviously Ben had a spaghetti arm and this and that and the other thing, but how many games did they win?
7.
In the last, 10 minutes of the game because Ben somehow figured out a way to get him down the field to score. That's what I want to see. The offense might be better, but you know what? We're down 4. The ball's on the 18-yard line. We got to go 82 yards to win. Is Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky that guy?
Well, not Trubisky.
Either one. I don't care. Are you that guy? Because to me, how many of the wins they had this year were
Rudolph would have been that guy, but Ben was so unbelievably mean to him when he first got to the team that he gave him no chance. Hold on. Ask Richie. That's all the guy's been talking about lately.
He did talk. He did reference that.
It's honestly a joke.
He did not blame his problems on that.
He's been passive-aggressive about it, and it reflects terribly on him.
Well, if anything, he learned the passive-aggressiveness from Ben.
One guy's got 2 rings to show for it.
He wasn't passive-aggressive. He wasn't passive-aggressive.
All right, we got to take a break.
He made it pretty clear.
We'll let them continue to yell. Clear. We got to take a break, though. Coming up next, I want to talk a little bit about the LIV Golf Series. What's going on with the PGA Tour? That's next. Stay right there.